Post-training notice. National first-class registered exorcist. Extra chapter. Just like the Qin and Shan stars, Part 2. Xiang Cheng had to contact the Beijing Flood Committee, and at the same time, get Feng Li's opinions. After the last renovation of the sacred land, it was about to be unveiled. However, due to a small problem with waterproofing, the Kun Lord's pond was leaking water, and they had to rework the pond. As soon as they did, they missed the auspicious day and had to wait for another day to unveil everything. Everyone had to go home separately and wait until next month to open up the sacred land. The happiest person about the delay was Chen Lang, since he could go on another business trip. Feng Li was personally supervising a group of mudfishes filling cement at the bottom of the lake. He answered his phone, and after a moment, said, "Sorry, Your Majesty, my level cannot suppress that of a Pixiu." This was what Xiang Cheng had expected. In fact, a Pixiu was half a level lower than the dragon had 9 sons, and the 9th son was the Pixiu. The 9-tailed celestial fox was half a level lower than a Pixiu, so if they threw the Pixiu into the sacred land, they would not be able to control it at all. That was to say, after taking it back, they would have to raise it themselves, which would mean the house would now have an extra Yaogwai that could swagger about arrogantly and only fear Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng felt this all a bit troublesome and was afraid that if he didn't watch closely, the little Pixiu would bully Zhi Ziaduo, so he said, "How about we forget it? If we bring it here, it will make a mess of the house again. Having a lang dog and a mandrill is enough already." Zhi Ziaduo thought to himself, "How pitiful though, the Pixiu has no parents. Then the Pixiu will be locked up in the Exorcist Committee's prison." Zhi Ziaduo said, "That's too cruel." Xiang Cheng couldn't help but say, "What is Xian Hezi doing?" Zhi Ziaduo said, "Actually, I think having it go with Xian Hezi is similar to going to prison." Xiang Cheng thought and agreed, but Zhi Ziaduo said, "Let's take it and keep it ba. Children are all a bit immature, and it will all be better when it grows up." Xiang Cheng, Pixius have a childhood of 60 years. Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo supported his forehead. By the time this Pixiu reached adulthood, both him and Xiang Cheng would be 90 years old. "Let's bring it back first and then see ba," Zhi Ziaduo said. Originally, everyone should be responsible for the problems they caused, so they should let Xian Hezi raise it on his own. However, if it was brought back and stuffed back with Xian Hezi, only to get caught again, Xian Hezi's future would be ruined. There are always many things in life that are involuntary, and adopting such a hot potato could not be said to be Xian Hezi's fault. So, Xiang Cheng finished discussing things with Zhi Ziaduo and decided to go to Beijing again. Firstly, a draft document was sent to the Exorcist Committee requesting the repatriation of the unnamed Pixiu. Xiang Cheng and Zhi Ziaduo would personally raise the Yao themselves. Previously, Xiang Cheng had communicated with Xian Hezi in advance, and the entire special action team held a meeting where everyone joined forces and cursed Xian Hezi bloody. Xian Hezi had to accept all the conditions and keep apologizing to Xiang Cheng. "Can I still see it in the future?" Xian Hezi asked. Zhi Ziaduo said, "Let's see how you act." Xian Hezi asked, "Is it still mine?" Xiang Cheng couldn't bear it anymore and said, "It didn't belong to anyone to begin with. It's an independent soul, not your pet." "That's right, Zhou Wanyuan said expressionlessly, "You are really disrespecting Yao right now. Be careful that the Yao tribes don't find you later for payback." Zhi Ziaduo then said, "Also, alimony should be paid monthly." Xian Hezi exclaimed miserably, "There's also alimony." "Obviously." Everyone exclaimed in unison, "Otherwise, aren't we raising it for you for free?" "You think it over first," Zhi Ziaduo said. "If you don't come up with something, we won't come to pick it up." Wouldn't that be a joke? This was also discussed in advance by everyone, and they had decided to teach Xian Hezi a lesson. However, Zhi Ziaduo had considered the amount for a long time, and he dared not give too high of a number, afraid that Xian Hezi would go for broke after being backed into a corner like a desperate dog. "How much does the alimony cost?" Xian Hezi asked. Xiang Cheng said, "We haven't raised any pixie before, and I don't know how much your child will eat. We will issue an invoice to you when it comes time, so you can get reimbursed for food and beverage expenses more easily." Xian Hezi. Chen Zhen said decisively on the other end of the conference call, "He won't default, just directly deducted from his salary." "Have you decided?" Xiang Cheng said again. "Once you think it over, nod. Don't turn back when the time comes." Zhi Ziaduo thought Xian Hezi would be in agony, but he didn't expect that he wouldn't hesitate much before nodding and saying, "Okay, thank you guys." This quick decision made Zhi Ziaduo see Xian Hezi a bit differently. They had been together as an egg until now, so there should still be some emotional connection, right? The next day, Zhou Mokuo stamped his seal, and Xiang Cheng and Zhi Ziaduo boarded the plane to pick up the Pixiu. Xian Hezi remained listless for several days, and the little Pixiu was locked up in the conference room of the United Front Work Department, with several layers of spells applied to prevent it from wreaking damage everywhere. Zhou Mokuo's kaffir lily's pot had already been broken twice, and he really couldn't bear this little guy anymore. "Yo," Chen Zhen said, "you're here so early today." Xian Hezi sighed and said, "Yes." Xian Hezi was carrying a woven bag and dragging it by the opening, waiting outside the conference room. "What's inside?" Chen Zhen asked. Xian Hezi opened the bag and glanced at Chen Zhen. Inside the woven bag were the little Pixiu's dog toys and several large boxes of cheese biscuits. "Ziaduo and the others will prepare stuff for it?" Chen Zhen patted Xian Hezi on the shoulder. Xian Hezi replied, "It only eats from this basin and won't touch anything else." Chen Zhen just had to let out an N and looked at his watch. Xian Hezi said, "Can I meet it again?" Chen Zhen thought, "You should have come earlier. That Pixiu can't bear to part with you, but you didn't even give it a name." "This is not easy to handle," Chen Zhen thought for a moment and said, "Go ask teacher Zhou Ba. It'll be better for you to go than me, let him know the situation. He is not unreasonable either." Xian Hezi placed the woven bag at the door and knocked on Zhou Mokuo's door. Chen Zhen then turned around and left. After a while, Xian Hezi ran to several places with permits to sign before obtaining the qualification to visit the prison. As soon as he pushed the door open, the Pixiu was sleeping on the conference table. "Xian Hezi, hey." The little Pixiu's ears twitched, and it heard Xian Hezi's voice. It woke up, saw Xian Hezi and immediately got up. Then it called out to him a few times with an "Ao, Ao." Xian Hezi reached out and took it out of the barrier, saying, "It's all your fault. Nothing even happened, so why did you have to go running around? Look, now you're going to be adopted." The little Pixiu exclaimed "Ao, Ao" with an unhappy expression on its face. It turned its head to show Xian Hezi that there was still a red mark around its neck, which was clearly left by the Exorcist committee after they had used some magic weapon to capture it. Xian Hezi was weeping on the inside, but he couldn't even cry. He hugged the little Pixiu and talked to himself for a while. The little Pixiu struggled down to the floor, ran to the door and called out to Xian Hezi a few more times, signaling that they could go home now. Xian Hezi said, "You'll be going to a new home soon. If you follow Great Immortal Xiang, your life will be better than it was when you were following me. Don't cause trouble when you go there, they have rules." The little Pixiu. The little Pixiu looked at Xian Hezi, and Xian Hezi's tears finally flowed out. The little Pixiu seemed to understand something. On the plane, Zhi Ziaduo was still thinking of names for the new family member about to arrive. After discussing with Xiang Cheng a lot, they both thought they were all too strange. Finally, they decided to change it and just call it Tianlu. It was also troublesome to bring back a Pixiu. They couldn't take it by plane or by train, so they just had to keep it in a cage, hide it in a car, and take the highway back to Guangzhou. However, as soon as they got off the plane, Zhi Xiaoduo heard bad news: the Pixiu had run away. Qiao Bin, who came to pick them up from the plane, took off his sunglasses and shrugged. "Where's Chen Zhen?" Xiang Cheng asked. "Exorcist committee." Qiao Bin replied succinctly, "In the morning, Xian Hezi went to see that little thing, but he didn't pay close attention, and it ran away without a trace." Retrieval task. Object: Pixiu. Name: Name. Hazard level: SS. Gender: male. Location of disappearance: north of the Huai River. Case report. Xian Hezi, Deputy Director of the United Front Work Department of the Exorcist Committee, discovered a Grade 1 Yaoguai, a Pixiu, at his home. After being placed under the control of the organization, it escaped due to a momentary oversight by the guards. It is missing, and it is highly likely that it has already escaped from Beijing. Handling suggestion: retrieve the escaped Pixiu, and Xian Hezi will issue a notice of self-criticism and punishment. If the case is not closed within 1 month, he will be dismissed from public office. Zhi Xiaoduo looked sympathetically at Xian Hezi. After decades of hard work, sighed Xian Hezi, things once again returned to the way they were before the liberation. Hurry up and go search for it. Chen Zhen suspected that this was his unlucky year, which was why he ended up in this mess with Xian Hezi. "I'll go look," Xian Hezi said. "If I can't find it, I won't come back either." "If you can't find it," Chen Zhen said, "the Exorcist Committee will have to send out a national mission to pursue it. Do you think it's okay as long as you can't find it?" "Hey," Xiang Cheng reminded them, "the Yao King is right in front of you. Do you think I'm dead?" Zhi Xiaoduo agreed, "Yes. Do you think we're completely useless?" Chen Zhen said, "I'm sorry, but I can't make the final decision on this matter. If it eats someone, how would you explain it?" Xiang Cheng had no other ideas either. Once a Pixiu was hungry, it would eat anything, and it didn't know that it wasn't allowed to eat humans. "Let's search BA," Qiao Bin said. "Tonight, I will have the field staff blockade the entire city of Beijing and search for its whereabouts." "It's impossible that it stayed in the city," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "It must have run out long ago." Zhi Xiaoduo's crow's mouth really hit the mark. In the evening, everyone had a simple meal at Xian Hezi's house, but the Pixiu didn't come home. Xian Hezi was restless, anxiously glancing at the clock every 10 minutes, but all the way until midnight, there was no sound of anything scratching at the door. Kita remotely contributed a solution by asking Xian Hezi to post "Find the Pixiu" notice on electric poles, but that was unanimously rejected by everyone. All the way until 2 o'clock in the night, the Pixiu still hadn't returned home. Xian Hezi finished his meal and sat on the balcony. At 3 o'clock, he said, "Everyone, go to bed." Chen Zhen and Qiao Bin each went back. Xiang Cheng was about to go stay at a hotel when Xian Hezi said to them, "There's nothing that good around, and don't judge me for being too poor. Just sleep here tonight, ba." Both of them were a bit surprised. Xiang Cheng glanced at Zhi Xiaoduo, and Zhi Xiaoduo nodded. Xian Hezi then went to make the bed and let Xiang Cheng take a shower. Xian Hezi made the bed up halfway, patted the bed, let Zhi Xiaoduo sit on it, and then went to put on a duvet cover. Zhi Xiaoduo didn't know how to comfort Xian Hezi. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Don't be depressed." "It's okay," Xian Hezi said. "There were a lot of times where I didn't want to take care of it anymore because it really ate too much." Zhi Xiaoduo. "But now that it's gone, it's still very sad," Xian Hezi then said, "Do you want a cup of coffee?" "Okay," Zhi Xiaoduo nodded. Xian Hezi brewed a cup of instant coffee for him, and Zhi Xiaoduo asked, "Did you get this from the 5-star hotel in Macau last time?" "Yes, It tastes better than the one from the Exorcist committee, Xian Hezi replied. After a long silence, Zhi Ziaduo heard Xian Hezi say, "Alas! We can find it," Zhi Ziaduo said. "I guarantee you." He heard Xiang Cheng come out, and Xian Hezi then said, "Xiang Cheng, there's cigarettes under the coffee table." "Thank you." Xiang Cheng dug out his ear with a cotton swab outside and turned up a jar of cigarettes from Xian Hezi's house. It was filled with various brands of strange cigarettes, from Jianman to Marlboro, everything was there. Each type of cigarette was probably brought back and saved by Xian Hezi when others had offered him a cigarette, but Xiang Cheng found it very interesting and smoked one. In the room, Xian Hezi was making the bed while chatting with Zhi Ziaduo. "I raised it from the moment it first hatched," Xian Hezi gestured. "When it first hatched, its eyes were still blurry, and I wondered, what kind of monster was it? Its mouth kept opening, and it wanted to eat, so I had to give it some sugar water with a cotton swab. Later on, it could drink milk, and in one day, it drank a whole big can of my milk powder." "You're so stin. You're so frugal." Zhi Ziaduo said, "Was that all to raise it?" "Not really." Xian Hezi said, "I have to support my family, and I have a sense of crisis. I'm afraid that one day, when I lose my job, I'll have to go begging." Zhi Ziaduo asked, "Then what about yourself? Were you also like this when you were a child?" "When I was a child, my family was poor, we couldn't compare to you guys." Xian Hezi said, "Shifu didn't give us disciples any money. We were so poor that we couldn't afford a glass bottle of cola for 50 cents. Zhi Ziaduo thought to himself, "That's still fine, right?" Xiang Cheng was also really poor as a child. Xian Hezi finished making the bed and lay on it, staring at the ceiling. "Do you still have any Marshall brothers?" "Yes," Xian Hezi replied absent-mindedly. "I am the oldest Chikshan." Outside, there was the sound of Xiang Cheng flicking a lighter, and Xian Hezi began to talk about his past with Zhi Ziaduo. Originally, Xian Hezi was not named Xian Hezi when he was a child, but he didn't know his own name. Since his memories started, he was living in a temple. According to his Shifu, during one stormy night, his parents couldn't raise him anymore, and he was given to his Shifu. It was a summer night, when the mountains and forests howled, and the sound of crying and lightning broke the night sky together. "Can we not add any embellishments?" Zhi Ziaduo said appropriately. "It feels a bit creepy." "Okay," Xian Hezi continued. Xian Hezi's Shifu's name was Master Long, and he was the abbot in an old temple on a lonely mountain. He was already very old, so old that he couldn't even remember his own age. Generation after generation passed around him, yet he still lived on steadfastly. After a long time, everyone called him the Old Immortal. But he wasn't very spiritual, and incense in the temple was only burnt intermittently. In order to make a living, Master Long sometimes had to personally go down the mountain to serve the nearby residents, treat those who were sick, drive away evil spirits, chat with those who weren't ill, and let everyone know he was still there. When he took Xian Hezi in as a disciple, Master Long might have realized that his time was running out and the deadline was approaching, so he picked up the baby outside the temple and raised it. Before this, occasional abandoned babies appeared outside the temple, but Master Long usually would take the babies in swaddling clothes. Zhi Ziaduo's face turned green at once. "Did he eat them?" Zhi Ziaduo asked. "What are you thinking?" Xian Hezi said, "He sent them to an orphanage." Oh, said Zhi Ziaduo, "keep talking." When raising Xian Hezi, the incense money in Master Long's temple was already very low, and the Yao Association had not been established yet, so it was really difficult to take care of old Yaoguai. Therefore, Master Long planned to raise Xian Hezi to take care of him in his retirement. Next, Master Long's plan to raise disciples and help him in his old age began. In addition to Xian Hezi, he gradually brought back some other abandoned babies. There were those nearby who couldn't afford to raise children, and they were eventually thrown into Master Long's custody. This was a painful experience for the eldest disciple Xian Hezi. He had to serve his Shifu while also managing a group of Shitas. Moreover, Master Long was not very good at teaching his disciples. Fearing that they might cause trouble outside, he taught them very little in terms of magic and martial arts. The disciples all had average martial arts skills and they were raised by a Yaogwai, so they never cultivated their own skills. The only thing they were taught was that frugality was a virtue. Between the ages of 14 to 20 was when Xian Hezi suffered the most. He had to go down the mountain to study in high school, but he also had to go home to cook a big meal for his shitas to eat, and he also had to serve his shifu. Every day before dawn, he would fill the water tank with water and steam mantu with noodles as breakfast for everyone. Then he would hurriedly go down the mountain to study, take half a day to finish his homework, and then study on his own for everything else. At noon, he would run back to the temple, and in the afternoon, he would take his shitas to learn martial arts and magic. Then at night, he would head to the night market to set up a stall and earn some money. Then what about the incense money in your temple? Asked Zhiziaduo. Shifu took it. Xian Hezi said. Zhiziaduo said, why didn't you ask him for some to buy food with? Xian Hezi looked at Zhiziaduo strangely and said, do you think it's possible for an old Pixio to give away anything in his hoard? Zhiziaduo thought about it and agreed. So, Xian Hezi, this lonely great tree, gradually grew up amidst the wind and rain. At the age of 18, he passed the college entrance examination and was admitted to Renmin University of China, but because he didn't have the money to pay tuition fees, he didn't go. Zhiziaduo thought to himself, damn, your grades are actually that good. Xian Hezi said, I was the best at politics. I still remember the reform and opening up, the economic foundations that determine the structure of the overarching government, as well as the three represents. Zhiziaduo quickly waved his hand to indicate that he didn't need to recite those and asked, what happened later? Xian Hezi said, later on, of course, I went back to the temple to support everyone. That's too wicked, Zhiziaduo thought to himself. After graduating from high school, Xian Hezi couldn't get the tuition fees from his shifu, and money from his work was also reported by his shidi to his shifu and taken away. However, he couldn't spend his whole life in the temple, could he? What everyone meant was to ask him to find a regular job, so that his master and fellow disciples could have a secure life in terms of clothing, food, housing, and transportation. After all, with soaring prices, setting up a street stall wouldn't work anymore. With so many people having to eat and drink, their eldest Shikshan had both hands and feet, so why couldn't he find a way to make money? How old were your shitas? Zhiziaduo finally asked. The oldest was 15, Xian Hezi said. The youngest was 6. Here, I'll show you. Xian Hezi went to flip through a photo album, which contained several children in tattered clothes and disheveled faces. Xian Hezi pointed to them and introduced them to Zhiziaduo. Zhiziaduo looked at them and felt annoyed. He suddenly felt that Xian Hezi, this guy, was actually really great, and suddenly his nose stung. Then, Xian Hezi had no choice but to work. First, he became a male model for a period of time, and then he got a girlfriend. However, Xian Hezi couldn't even support himself, so how could he afford a girlfriend? After she took him home, he was indeed despised by her big family and was dumped. Then he went to deliver packages again, but because he liked to pick up boxes that others didn't want to resell, he was accused of stealing and got fired. Finally, Master Long used his connections to find him a job as an exorcist, and only then did things stabilize for him. After Xian Hezi entered the Shangzi Exorcist Committee, he felt like he had entered a brand new world. Immediately, he took to it like a fish to water. His martial arts were excellent and he was respected by his colleagues. The Exorcist committee had not produced such an outstanding young talent for many years, so Xian Hezi rose all the way up and was deeply appreciated by the leaders. Of course, his salary still needed to be sent back to the temple. However, no one knew how his temple was doing and only thought it was an ancient sect deep in the mountains, so their words were always filled with envy and admiration. The daughter of a leader also liked him. Xian Hezi fell in love again for a while, but was criticized by the other party for his stingy and frivolous behavior. Finally, when the leader's daughter proposed to visit his home, Xian Hezi decisively refused the proposal due to the lingering trauma from his first girlfriend. Later, Xian Hezi went home once again and was besieged by his shidis because he made a small mistake. Looking back now, Xian Hezi said, "It was still my fault. I went to the big city, so when I came back to the temple, I would instinctively show off. My shidis probably didn't like me like this and they thought that I had changed." Zhi Xiaoduo asked, "What caused the argument?" Xian Hezi said, "It was a very small matter. On the day I went back, everyone added in vegetables. When I cooked noodles, I added scallions for my fourth shidi, but my fourth shidi didn't eat scallions. I forgot that, but they said I didn't care about people, and that I had gone to the big city and now looked down on them. They said the gifts I brought back also had a different price now." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "So you got angry?" "I got angry." Xian Hezi said, "I was really angry. I thought to myself, because of you guys, I can't even keep a girlfriend, and every month, I work so hard and only keep 200 for myself while sending the rest back. With just me working, everyone can afford white noodles to eat, and they can even have eggs at night." Zhi Xiaoduo. After a moment of silence, Xian Hezi lay on the bed and called out, "Great Immortal Xiang! Feel free to smoke all my cigarettes." Xiang Chen was obviously also listening and thinking in the hall. "Okay," Xiang Chen said. "What happened later?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "Later on, I got angry." "So, what happened after you got angry?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "I just left," Xian Hezi said. "I didn't want to go back anymore. Just giving them the money was considered fulfilling my responsibility." Zhi Xiaoduo, "You still sent them money?" Xian Hezi said, "I still had to give it. If it weren't for my Shifu taking me in and passing me his martial arts skills, I wouldn't be where I am today, right?" Zhi Xiaoduo didn't say anything. Xian Hezi said, "I just exorcised devils, made money, exorcised devils. That's it. Later, when my Shifu passed away, I only realized then that I regretted it. I hurried back and cried a lot. I wanted to find my inheritance, but I didn't find anything, only this egg. I took it back to Xian, and the leader over there asked me to fill out a form and come to Beijing for an exam. Coincidentally, my Shifu had been friends with Elder Zhen before. When I came, I first reported to Elder Zhen, and then when I took the exam, I got to know you all." Zhi Xiaoduo let out an N and said, "Now you can keep all your money for yourself." N. Xian Hezi said, "But I'm used to being frugal. Sometimes if I'm too frugal, please don't mind it." "Meeting you and great Immortal Xiang," Xian Hezi said, "and also Boss Ji, Director Chen, Director Chao, Kita, Miss Zhou, and everyone. That was the happiest day of my life," Xian Hezi said. As he finished that sentence, Zhi Xiaoduo stared at him in amazement, and Xian Hezi got up and went out. Xian Hezi's wallet was still on the bedside table. Zhi Xiaoduo took it over and flipped through it, revealing some tens of dollars and 2 taxi tickets. The wallet was gifted to him by Zhi Xiaoduo, and the adhesive film on it had not been peeled off yet, so it was well preserved. There was a photo of the special action team in the wallet. Originally, it was taken in Macau without Xiang Chen, but later when they got rid of Zheng Qin, everyone took a photo in front of the fountain at the entrance of the Exorcist committee. Zhi Xiaoduo had hung the photo on the wall of their home, Chen Zhen had placed it in a frame and stood it upright on his desk, and Chao Bin had used the photo as his computer desktop photo. Xian Hezi had put it in his wallet. Xiang Cheng finished smoking and came in. Zhi Ziaduo handed him the wallet, and Xiang Cheng threw it outside, closed the door, and turned off the lights to sleep. Your Majesty. What's wrong, Empress? Zhi Ziaduo moved around in the darkness. After drinking coffee, he couldn't sleep at all. Xian Hezi really hasn't had it easy, Zhi Ziaduo said. It's his own fault, Xiang Cheng said. Zhi Ziaduo laughed. Then are we going to help him find his son? Zhi Ziaduo asked. N. Xiang Cheng replied, I'll help him find it. Don't worry. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Zhi Ziaduo said, I don't know where it ran to. This great king has so many Yaoguai under him, Xiang Cheng said. Could they really not even find a Pixiu? Zhi Ziaduo actually believed Xiang Cheng. Although the world was so big, if the Pixiu ran away, it would definitely not hide in one place. It would have to come out to eat this or that, and it would be discovered as soon as it appeared. If it was discovered, it would be recorded, transferred to the relevant department, and sent to the Exorcist committee. Whatever case it was easy to handle as long as it reached the Exorcist committee. Chen Zhen would notify Xiang Cheng through a back door, and Xiang Cheng would go and take the Pixiu away in advance. Sleep. Xiang Cheng said, do you want me to give you a little loving? No need. Zhi Ziaduo hugged Xiang Cheng and said, this is someone else's bed. Xiang Cheng said, that's why I asked if you wanted to stay in a hotel. Oh, is that so? Smart people always had 2 or 3 layers of meaning, and it was only now that Zhi Ziaduo understood. When Xian Hezi said stay at my house, Xiang Cheng had looked at Zhi Ziaduo, and that meant that he was asking if he had wanted to do it that night. Let's go to sleep then, ba. Xiang Cheng hugged Zhi Ziaduo and gave him a kiss. Finally, he carefully hugged him and fell asleep first. Zhi Ziaduo couldn't sleep at all and began to imagine a Pixiu radar, how to find the whereabouts of a Pixiu through modern technology. However, this radar could only be used once, which seemed to be a waste of materials. Or was it possible to add various monster recognition chips inside, thereby expanding to the scope of finding different Yao? Suddenly, he heard a sound outside. Xiang Cheng's breathing briefly stopped, and his senses heightened. You aren't asleep yet? Xiang Cheng whispered. Zhi Ziaduo said honestly, I can't sleep. SHH. They hugged each other and heard Xian Hezi outside looking for the keys and packing his bag. Xiang Cheng signaled Zhi Ziaduo to continue sleeping and stood up carefully. Zhi Ziaduo waved his hand and gestured for him to go. Xiang Cheng thought for a while and nodded. At this moment, the anti-theft door of Xian Hezi's house clanged, and Zhi Ziaduo ran out to see that he had packed his things and left. There was a note on the table, I've gone find the Pixiu, please help me request some PTO from Director Chen tomorrow. Xian Hezi quickly walked downstairs. It was 6 o'clock in the morning, so the steamed bun shop downstairs had already opened. He wolfed down his breakfast, wiped his face with a wet tissue, bought some fruit, and prepared to eat on the train. When he arrived at the train station, Xian Hezi was about to pass the security check when a hand reached out from behind and grabbed his ear. Aya! Aya! Xian Hezi shouted loudly. Zhi Ziaduo remained expressionless and pulled him aside. I was wrong, Xian Hezi said. Zhi Ziaduo yawned incessantly and said, if you want to run out on your own, can you discuss it with us first? Xian Hezi quickly apologized and asked, where is great immortal Xiang? Back at the sacred land. Zhi Ziaduo said, carrying a bag, he sent me to monitor you. Where do you want to go? Get your ticket out. Xian Hezi had to take out his train ticket, while Zhi Ziaduo took out his own train ticket and said, sure enough, you're going to Xian. Get on the train bot, let's go. Zhi Xiaoduo turned around and waved to Huang Shan and the others. A group of Yaoguai subordinates waited at the security checkpoint, bowing to Zhi Xiaoduo in unison. Everyone waved and said, "Empress, take care." It was the end of summer vacation, and the crowd was surging as Xian Hezi and Zhi Xiaoduo squeezed onto the train. Zhi Xiaoduo had not taken the train with returning college students for many years, and the two of them were squeezed into the upright seats. "How did you know I planned to return to Xian?" Xian Hezi asked. "Xiang Cheng guessed," said Zhi Xiaoduo. Xian Hezi said, "The two of you actually separated?" "Yeah," Zhi Xiaoduo said, "to help you with this favor." "Why, is it very strange?" Xian Hezi was moved to tears and asked, "Did he go back to the sacred land to help me?" Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo had said too much and had to change his tune. "Don't ask any more, why are you so chatty?" Xian Hezi then said, "He's fine with you being alone with me." "Don't worry, Zhi Xiaoduo said in confusion, "you will protect me, won't you?" Xian Hezi had also protected Zhi Xiaoduo before, and he protected him very well. In terms of strength, he had also fought against Xiang Cheng, and Xiang Cheng had no worries about him. "No, no, no," Xian Hezi said, "he's not afraid of me treating you." "Peanuts, melon seeds, mineral water, young man, please step aside." "Ah." Zhi Xiaoduo withdrew his foot and said, "Where on earth did you get that confidence from? You think you could pick me up while we both have nothing to eat?" Xian Hezi stopped talking. The corner of Zhi Xiaoduo's mouth twitched. After a moment, he found the conductor and changed them to the soft sleeper seats. He and Xian Hezi moved in and lay on the bunks, sending a WeChat message to Chen Zhen. Chen Zhen replied, "Received, thank you for your hard work. Do you think the Pixie might return to Xian?" "I've decided to go back to Anhua Temple to see," Xian Hezi said. "I suspect it already remembers some things from before it hatched." "Does an egg also have memory?" asked Zhi Xiaoduo. "Some Yaoguai's eggs have memories," Xian Hezi replied, "they have spiritual energy after all." Zhi Xiaoduo opened up a new field of research, took out his notebook, added an entry to it, and asked, "Then does the egg yolk contain the memories or does the egg white contain the memories?" "The egg yolk, right." Xian Hezi said, "How do I know? I feel like it has memories. One time when I was watching TV and the Xian Snack Money Tower was broadcast, it kept calling out to me, meaning that we had been there before. That day, I carried the egg in my pocket and had heard about coming to Beijing, so I happily ate 6 money towers." Zhi Xiaoduo. "I'll just ask my Shidis when I'm back," Xian Hezi said. "I guess it just followed the way back. What is great immortal Xiang doing in the sacred land?" Zhi Xiaoduo said, "It's a secret." Xian Hezi said, "Tell me how can I cooperate like this?" Zhi Xiaoduo said, "Before getting off the train, I'll give you 100 yuan. From now on, for every question, I'm going to deduct 10 yuan. Xian Hezi said seriously, "I don't want your money. You guys are friends, and I love you guys. Tell me, and I will fully cooperate with great immortal Xiang." Zhi Xiaoduo was a bit surprised and said, "But I still can't say anything." Xian Hezi stared at Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo was already very tired and turned around to sleep. Xian Hezi shook Zhi Xiaoduo and said, "Hey. I really can't tell you," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "Then give me 100 yuan and I won't ask anything anymore." End chapter.